Green Thumbs Up, the gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. I'm your host and life coach, Rabia Carvalho, and we're talking birds, bees, butterflies, and blooms, growing food in garden rooms, home-based holistic healing, and much more. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or nature lover, plant assassin, or permaculture professional, we got you. We got you. Let us bring you the ideas, the facts, support, and inspiration to go green wherever you are. Sundays 9 to 10 a.m. only on Radio Al-Ansar.
A little boy went first day at school. He got some crayons and he started to draw. He put colors all over the paper. Colors was what he saw. The teacher said, "What you doing, young man?" "I'm painting flowers, see?" "Well, this is not the time for art, young man. And anyway, flowers are green and red. There's a time for everything, young man. A way things should be done. You got to show concern for everyone else. You're not the only one," she said.
Hey, it's Green Thumbs Up Day. Assalamu alaikum. It is Sunday. It is time for Green Thumbs Up, that gardening and natural living show you didn't know you needed. That's right. It's the one where not everybody has all the answers. Everybody has all the answers. Together we grow. So with me this morning in studio is Asfath Philly. Take a bow. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam.
Do you know, I love that little tune in the middle. In the beginning, let's get it going again. Let's wake everybody up again, shall we? Let's play our little signature tune that we've adopted from yesteryear.
Yesteryear.
Yesteryear. Do you have it? Asfath, this should be on the tip of your fingers.
Unfortunately.
So, folks, we are on every Sunday from 9 to 10 a.m. And Green Thumbs Up is here today to talk to you about some super, super interesting stuff. As you may have heard on Buddy Govinder's show, we're going to be talking about lunar gardening. If you've not heard the show before, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. My name is Rabia Carvalho, and I am here to guide you through all things gardening and natural living. Last week, we have a super fantastic show. We spoke Nature's Apothecary, and boy, oh boy, we had questions. Hey, Asfath, questions on the berberine, like what kind of things they were asking us.
Which one's original berberine? What color is berberine?
Where do we get it? Where do we buy it? How do we find it? What do you use it for? So if you haven't got your berberine, get your berberine. Get your berberines. Today, we are going to continue with that discussion because I had promised last week that we were going to cover castor oil, and I didn't. So a promise made. A promise we make is a promise we keep. Now, that is from the 80s. You will not remember that one, Asfath. But if you remember that in your home, go on and WhatsApp us. What memory does that provoke? WhatsApp us on 0609041056, the questions that you may have, whether it's Nature's Apothecary, gardening, and others. Now, let's talk about natural living. And for that, we talk about snow. Because, guess what? Yesterday, did you know, Asfath, yesterday was the spring equinox?
The spring equinox.
The spring equinox means that it has marked the beginning of spring. Spring has sprung and snow has sung and it has fallen and it is everywhere. Don't be a silly goose and go out playing in the snow because you will get stuck on the roads. So no silly gooses out in the snow, please. Watch it from the comfort of your television set.
Or you will end up in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, you'll end up in a bit of a pickle if you're lucky, if not in your car for 24 to 48 hours. So, folks, let's keep it safe out there. It is snowing, but what did you do to protect your plants from the sudden cold snap? Join us on Facebook, by the way. Join us on YouTube, by the way. Radio Al-Ansar. We are there. And we are here to take your questions and to share some answers from other listeners because, boy, oh boy, you folks out there know a lot about gardening. Even the stuff you don't think you know. You know. Yes, you know. And did you know as well that in this snowy weather and in this cold weather, points are given out. We are dishing out points. Points for you. Points for you. Yes, 5 points if you brought your pot under shelter. Your pot plants, that is, under shelter. Did you bring it through? Yay, 5 points. If you got up early this morning and watered so that plants have time to warm up during the day as the day warms up at least a little, 5 more points for you. Bonus, 10 points. You win. Yes, you started this day a winner. And if you didn't bring your pots inside, that's okay. You're still a winner. You're just a winner with a very, very dry, potentially burnt plant. But the good news is it can recover. Now, last week, as I say, we spoke about berberine, and I am going to touch on castor oil. But folks, I keep meeting ladies at these functions, and all of you come up to me and say, Rabia, I sit with my pen and my paper. Have you got your pen and your paper, sister? Because today I'm giving out recipes galore. There are so many recipes coming at you on the show today, and that's not cooking with Bibi Aisha type recipes. It is gardening with Sister Rabia type recipes, and we are going to have super, super fun on this show. So stay where you are. Listen to the birds, listen to the bees, listen to the wonderful sounds of nature. Isn't it wonderful to be alive? It's Sunday and it's spring and we have snow just because why not? Just because why not? Let's have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Now, we also did something else last week. We took a poll, and I don't mean a poll as in a pole of wood. We took a poll. We took a census. We asked you, our dear listener, would you like to hear facts and have a discussion about cannabis? And all of you messaged in and said yes. There wasn't a single person that messaged in and said no, or that messaged in and said, maybe not, or messaged in and said, oh, that's a bad idea. So guess what? Next week, right here on Green Thumbs Up, we are going to be giving you the lowdown, the truth, the facts, the balanced approach to understanding what is this thing, this pot, this weed, this cannabis, this whatever it is you're wanting to call it. Because it's important for us. It's our ethos here at Radio Al-Ansar to inform and to educate. It's not about pushing something on people, because I want to say this. Every single plant that I mention on Nature's Apothecary has its good points, and if used incorrectly, has its bad points. In fact, if you look in your medicine cabinet, you're probably going to find stuff that's a lot more harmful to you in terms of pharmaceuticals than nature. But the fact that nature is natural doesn't mean that it is devoid of potential harms. So case in point, I've often spoken about yarrow herb. It's a pretty herb. It's got a lovely flower. It's excellent for women and men. Excellent for women and men's health. So for women, you're talking about endometriosis coming to an almost stop. Certainly balanced. You're talking about amenorrhea that is balanced. You're talking about going on Hajj and being able to delay your cycle or bring it on. All of this with yarrow. For men, you're talking about prostate health. You're talking about anti-inflammation. It is a herb for women in menopause and men in andropause. If you've not heard that word, let me know. If you'd like more info, we'll give that to you. Or follow me on my socials. I talk a lot about andropause and menopause. It's Life Coach Rabia. So yarrow has all these wonderful benefits. However, if a pregnant woman were to take yarrow, there are serious dangers because it will bring on contractions. And that might mean that there is a really, really tragic termination that happens. So plants must be used responsibly. And that is not just the case for cannabis. The reason we think of cannabis as, so dangerous is because we have been programmed by the media to see it as a demonized thing. We are, on the other hand, not saying, oh, yes, go out and, get your ganja on. No, we're not saying that. We are saying, Asfath having a good giggle there, we are saying, let's find out about this plant in a way that is balanced, in a way that is informative, educative, sane. Not only so, we also have one of the ulama with us to make sure that we stay on track. Yes. So that'll be next week. Do not miss the show from 9 to 10. The entire show will be dedicated to cannabis. We are trying to get a hold of, at the moment, as we speak, the top mind about cannabis in the world. If he does not join us, you can be sure we are going to have some amazing people coming in and talking to us about cannabis. So yes, yarrow herb is amazing. A potato. Did you know, Asfat Fili, my brother,
Yes.
did you know that green potatoes are toxic?
Green potatoes are toxic. How so?
How so? Well, the green in the potato
Mm-hmm.
can make you very, very sick. So if you have potatoes and you leave them exposed to sunlight, they start to go a little bit green.
Oh, like a little bit moldy or
No, green.
green?
The skin turns green, like a green apple. So sometimes you'll buy potatoes and you say, oh, look, this potato is still green. Do not eat him. Put him in a dark place to ripen properly, because you do not want to be eating a green potato. Green potatoes are dangerous. Yes.
Because one thing you should know about potatoes is that they grow underneath the ground.
Yes.
Underneath the soil.
Yes.
They grow
Yes.
better in darkness than in the light.
Yes, but if you put them in the light, then they think, oh, it is time to reproduce. Let me send out some roots, let me send out some leaves, and let me go green. So keep your potatoes covered. So a potato that is so helpful to us, and it has starch and it has vitamin C, is also harmful to us. Let's think about sandalwood. Sandalwood is a tree, right? It's on the verge of extinction. It has a magnificent smell and it has wonderful healing properties for the skin. But if you burn that wood without something to cut the toxins, you may potentially die. Yeah, just because it's natural does not mean that it is free of harm. And so this should not scare us away from natural healing. We need to understand things and we need to learn about things. And that's what the show is here for, right? So if the research trickles down to horticulturalists in terms of the latest findings that plants have a very clear marked puberty stage, then that means that we will probably deal with plants differently. We're going to put a greater emphasis of when we feed and what exactly we feed. That's when our micronutrients, our macronutrients become so important. So in Gloves On, this is our Gloves On segments. Let's talk about what do we give our plants when they need to flower. Think of this. Flower. Phosphorus flower. There you go. It needs phosphorus to flower. So phosphor flower, what is phosphorus? It's the P in the NPK. When you look at fertilizers, NPK, N nitrogen, P is phosphorus. It's phosphates. So here's your first recipe. If you want to have a lovely feed for your plants that are wanting to flower, and now is springtime and then we're going into the summer and we're wanting good phosphates in there, look no further than your fridge. Most indeedly, oh, look at your fridge, because there we have OBC, milk. Milk is not just high in phosphates, it's high in many different things, but phosphates particularly is really great. So let's use milk. Now, milk we can use to get rid of bugs as well as feeding plants. I had a tree fern not so long ago that was pretty under the weather because there was a big storm and a tree fell and it broke my beautiful tree fern. I thought, oh, poor thing's had it. It's seen its ghost. It's kicked the bucket. No, it did not. Because what? I got it some milk kefir. Now, milk kefir, why? Because it's lactose free. The lactose has been eaten up. I diluted that. You could use plain yogurt. Dilute your plain yogurt. So 1 part of plain yogurt to 5 parts of water. And if you feed that to your roses and you feed that to your ferns and you feed that to plants that are about to flower, they will thank you and flower profusely. In fact, you could even make a spray out of 1 part of plain yogurt or 1 part of milk, if you like, the skim milk, and to 5 parts of water. Now you use that as a spray. You're going to get rid of mealybugs. You're going to get rid of aphids. Make sure that you spray regularly. But if you want a bomb of a recipe that really grows your flowers and then keep bugs away, here's the add-on. This one is high in calcium, it's high in iron, magnesium, potassium, zinc, and all the good things that plants need. You're going to take 1 liter of water. Got your pen? Told you, get your pen and paper. 1 liter of water, and into that, you're going to stir 1 teaspoon of powdered cinnamon. Why cinnamon? Because cinnamon is antifungal and it is antiviral for plants as well as humans. But not only that, it is going to feed your plants all of these wonderful things: magnesium, iron, calcium, potassium, and phosphates. So you're going to take 1 teaspoon of powdered cinnamon. You're going to take 1 tablespoon, you only need 1 tablespoon of yogurt for this one, plain yogurt, not the strawberry stuff you love that's got all the sugars in. You don't want that one. And you're going to add that to 1 liter of water. You're going to stir that up beautifully, mix it up, give it a good shake till it's completely dissolved. And then you are going to give that to your plants. Just feed it into the soil. Once a month is all you need to give that a good, proper feeding. Now, while on the topic and you have fed your plants, you may want something that kills off the mealybugs and the aphids, because it's spring now. So what we're seeing already is slugs, apart from snow. We're seeing slugs, we're seeing aphids, we are seeing also lice on plants, right? Those things, those that fly everywhere. We're seeing muggies, these little muggies that look like tiny miniature flies that should have been a fly, what could have been a fly, but isn't really. So you think, where does the thing belong? And they're coming in droves, right? So if you want to kill them off, all you need is a cup of water. See, recipe. 1/2 tablespoon of wheat flour. Now, that wheat flour can be cake flour, and it can be any other kind of full boost brown bread flour, if you like, but it's wheat flour. All right, it's not maizena that we're talking about. 1 cup of water, 1/2 tablespoon of wheat flour, and then you're going to get your good old dishwash liquid, 1 tablespoon of that. Why do we do that? Normally, people will take the water and the dishwash liquid, put it together and spray, and then you're spraying every day and you're spraying every day. But here's the mistake people make when they're trying to kill these bugs and they're trying to kill them with sunlight and water. Well, they forget, number 1, to add flour. Why do we want to add the flour? Because the flour with the soap and the water encrusts these little bugs, and it covers their respiratory systems, and then they kick the bucket. They do. Now, I know I always have one or other person saying, oh, but yes, they are Allah's creatures. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And if you're happy to live with them, then go for it. But when you're gardening, you need to be able to protect your plants from things that will destroy the plants. And so we try to find out what are the beneficial insects in plants for plants and what are the ones that are going to destroy the plant. Because remember, we have to keep a balanced ecosystem. And so whilst all bugs are Allah's creation, if we allow things to get out of balance because we've introduced a vegetable garden and now suddenly all the bad bugs are flourishing, the bugs that destroy the garden, we are also putting that ecosystem out of whack. So 1 tablespoon of your dishwash liquid, 1/2 tablespoon of wheat flour, and 1 cup of water. Mix those together. And here's the thing: when you're spraying a plant, people will spray the bits that have got aphids, but they don't spray the underside of the leaf. You want to spray the entire plant, top, bottom, side, stem, leaves, like soil everywhere. And then 24 hours later, you go and you spray it again, just to make sure that you can't go wrong. I promise you, you are going to message us and you're going to say, oh, that worked. Yes, you're going to message us on 0609041056. What are your favorite pesticide killers? Now, another recipe for you, if you're wanting to feed your plants, particularly when they are young, and you're wanting them to get a nice thick stem so that they are strong, pawpaw leaves, papaya, yes, these things that grow everywhere, all over Durban. If you don't have a tree, I'm sure you will find down the road a neighbor who has a tree, and you could pop over and you could make salam and you could say, could I possibly have a leaf of your tree? And what you then do is you take a leaf and you put that into a liter of water with a half of a baby sweet potato, 1 pawpaw leaf, half a sweet potato, and a liter of water. Blitzy, blitzy, blitzy. Once it's blitzed, you add that to another 2 liters of water, and you can store that in the fridge or you can store it outside, and that is what you will use to water your baby plants, your little seedlings as they come up, so that get a nice strong stalk. That goes for your tomato plants, that goes for your brinjals, that goes for all of these plants that we want to stand upright and tall, like even your peppers, your green peppers, your red peppers, your chili peppers. Yes, that is what we do. Oh, goodness. Look at the time. Asfat, can you believe it's 9:30? We've barely got the show on the go and it's 9:30. Folks, we're going to have to do the necessary. We have to definitely take an ad break, but we're going to be right back after the ad break, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Green thumbs up right after this.
Get ready, because something extraordinary is about to happen. From the 26th to 29th of September, Alencar invites you to step beyond the velvet rope at the Diamond Walk in Saxony Westwood Mall. For just 4 days, luxury becomes accessible and the impossible becomes reality. Savor the finest cuisine and explore exclusive fashion and be dazzled by electrifying entertainment, big prizes, unforgettable experiences, and the chance to be a part of something truly special, all waiting for you. Don't just stream it, live it. The Diamond Walk, your front row ticket to the extraordinary.
Hungry for flavour? Head over to Nando's Pavilion, Westville Mall or Oceans Mall, where our flame-grilled peri-peri chicken is always fresh and flavourful. Experience our hospitality by dining in at Nando's Pavilion, Westville Mall or Oceans Mall, which are all NIHT certified, and stand a chance to win a holiday getaway for 4 valued at 10,000 Rand at the Umschlanger Sands. Nando's! Fire it up!
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Imagine a place where luxury knows no bounds. This September, Al-Ansar presents the Diamond Walk at Saxony Westwood Mall, an affair where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. From September 26th to 29th, journey through a world of refined taste and unmatched elegance. Discover the newest culinary masterpieces. Be captivated by the latest fashion and lose yourself in the allure of the Dawood entertainment stage. We invite you to indulge in life's most exquisite pleasures. And yes, it's all within your reach. Welcome to the Diamond Walk, where your VIP dreams come true.
اللهم احفظ المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الحاقدين. اللهم أعد المسجد الأقصى إلى رحاب المسلمين. اللهم وطهر المسجد الأقصى من اليهود الغاصبين. اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك يا قوي يا متين. اللهم منزل الكتاب مجري السحاب هازم الأحزاب سريع الحساب اهزم اليهود وزلزلهم يا قوي يا عزيز.
Boom, 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 boom.
A little boy went first day at school. He got some crayons and he started to draw. He put colors all over the paper. For colors was what he saw.
Boom, 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 boom. Whenever I hear that, it gives me the joys. So welcome back to Green Thumbs Up. We've just spoken about a little bit of pesticides. We've given you some recipes, and I have not forgotten about castor oil, but we promised today We're talking lunar garden. So let's see how quickly we can get through this. Please remember, if you'd like to message us, if you have any questions, it's 0609041056. In fact, why not join us? Give us a call. Give us a call on 061 904 904. Give us one call. We'll take your call. We'll talk to you. Come and join us on the show. Lunar gardening. What does this mean? Now, also shrouded in a little bit of mystery and a lot of misconception as well. People think that, lunar gardening must have something to do with planetary alignments. No. Hogwash and poppycock. Indeed, Leo, not. What is gardening by the moon all about? Now, a few weeks ago, we spoke about moon gardens. Remember, if you listen to the show, we spoke about the using white flowers in your garden, using reflective surfaces in your garden, so that as the moonlight shines on your garden and you're watching from above, from this little window, you're seeing this beautiful reflection of light and dark and white, a lot of white in these moon gardens. But lunar gardening is not moon gardening. Lunar gardening refers to the moon as a calendar to help us to know what to do with our gardens. Now, subhanAllah, if you think about it, Islam follows a lunar calendar. Before the Gregorian calendar, we had a lunar calendar. For us, the day begins at Maghrib, not when the sun comes up, but when the moon comes up. Now, the calendar used to be lunar, of course, until the Gregorian calendar came around and literally messed everything up. I mean, think about it. Asfat, September. Did you know that September comes from the word seven? Sept. Seven. September comes from sept, which is 7.
Mm-hmm.
October comes from octo, which means 8. November comes from nov, which means 9.
Oh, so the whole lunar calendar is like
Hello.
3.
December comes from deca, 10. But December is not the 10th month. And September is not the 7th month. Do you see what I'm getting at? Yeah.
So it all goes according to like a lunar calendar.
So if you think of the lunar calendar, it is a lot more appropriate for gardening and for living by than this calendar, because the Gregorian calendar shifts seasons a little bit, And so we want to get back to the lunar calendar when it comes to gardening. There's a question that has come in from Farah. I have a plant in my kitchen, but there are these tiny flies. Can I use the flour, yogurt, and water spray? Absolutely, yes, you can. You can use the flour, yogurt, and water spray. You can also burn a little bit of incense near your plants if you want to get it away. Or ideally, get yourself a carnivorous plant, because those little machis, they fly right into the carnivorous plant and snap. They get snapped up and fed. So this is why I like to have my what are these carnivorous plants around my orchids, because orchids sometimes do attract a little bit of those machis as well. So I hope that helps you.
So do you have Venus flytraps? Or
Yes, so you get Venus flytraps, which are the ones that, I don't know, I think it was in the 60s or 70s, they had this Broadway show, Little Shop of Horrors, and feed me, Seymour. That plant was inspired by the Venus flytrap because it snaps closed. But there are other carnivorous plants that look like sticky little stalks, and they look quite pretty, like
ferns.
Little curls. Yes, they look like a little fern, but they're sticky, and so the bugs land on there. Or you have others. I have a pitcher plant. So it from the leaf, the tip of the leaf grows a little thin stem, and on that stem grows what looks like a jug. A hairy little jug, and the bugs fly into it because it's got a sticky kind of substance inside to attract the bugs, and they get dissolved, they get chomped up and eaten up. So back to lunar calendars. If we think about the tides, now, why is the lunar calendar important? Because as we know, the tides are affected by the moon, right? How does the moon affect the tide? Well, the moon and the earth have a gravitational pull on one another, and as the moon pulls on the surface of the planet Earth, okay, it causes the oceans to bulge outward on the side closest to the moon, whilst the side further away from the moon also bulges. So kind of to the sides. And those bulges is what creates our higher tides. And the low points, that's where the low tides occur. But it doesn't just affect the tides. Anything that contains water is going to be affected by that same pull, that same gravitational pull. You take two magnets together and you don't let them touch one another. You kind of let them close to, they're going to want to pull towards one another, right? But if you take two positives or two negatives and you try to force those together, what do? They push away from one another. So the moon and the earth also have this kind of relationship, this push-pull relationship going on because of their gravitational fields. And so the tides come up, the tides go down. But so does the water in the water table. What is the water table? Remember how, if you think back to the show we did about, one of the first shows, we had our marine biologist specialist talking about pollution in the ocean and talking about how important it is what we do in our gardens, the toxins we use in our gardens, the plastics we use in our garden, they break down and they go down through the soil into what? The water table. Because it's not just water in the oceans, water in the table. The moon also has an effect of pushing that water up or pushing that water down. So when it is closer, it is giving you pressure. Imagine water that's coming up, and it's either going to be watering your plants or it's going to help your plants that are already grown be ready for harvest. So how do we know when to do this, when to do that? Different moon phases are associated with different parts of plant growth or different times of plant growth, like the development of roots, the growth of the leaves, and the production of fruit. And that is why lunar cycles are considered better for planting. Now, yes, you do get some people who will take the concept of moon gardening to an extreme. They take it to an extreme and they start talking about planets, and from there they're moving into astrology. We ain't doing none of that. We're talking about straightforward gardening according to the phases of the moon. And if you know the show, you'll know I tell it like it is. So depending on where people lived many, many years ago, they watched what the moon was doing, and they, based on what the moon was doing, they knew what the tides were going to do. They knew what the rivers were going to do, particularly in ancient Egypt and in Babylonian times. They knew whether that that river was going to flood outward, so they would get their seeds out in the ground, ready, the seedlings ready for that watering that came out. Okay. And they knew when the moon was moving away that, okay, now, we're not going to have that. So maybe now is the time to take care of bugs and so forth. So let me share a fascinating tidbit about groundwater, so the table. So in that deep, deep, deep layer beneath the Earth's surface, there's layers of sediment, okay, sedimented soil where the water is trapped. It's trapped under a lot of pressure. That's called groundwater. It's the stuff that we dig into to try to get our boreholes going, right? Now, that water is affected by the tides of the ocean and by the tides, the earth tides. So you get ocean tides and you get earth tides. That is what we just spoke about, the water in the table, in the water table going up or down. So on the flip side, okay, when the crust, the earth's crust expands, these are earth tides. It allows the aquifers, so the water tables, to recharge. And that leads to a drop in earth level. So it's amazing how the changes range. You can get a few centimeters to tens of centimeters of water or earth moving at different times of the year, depending on the lunar cycles. But just like you have lunar cycles, you have the sun cycles, right? Gregorian calendar, sun comes up, new day starts. Lunar calendar, moon comes up, the day starts. But the lunar and the solar timetable or calendar means that there are lunar and solar tides that happen roughly every 24 hours. And there are also half-day tides that happen. That happens around about every 12 hours. So as the sun goes around us, as the moon goes around us, it's having an effect on anything that contains water. We ourselves are made of 75% water.
Water.
Water. Amanzi. Ngicela amanzi. We must have our amanzi, our water. And so in that way, we also are affected by lunar cycles. But because we're human beings and we have consciousness, we are able to kind of check ourselves and our reactions to things. However, the earth and the water cannot. So many, many years ago, ancient times, pre-Gregorian calendar, when it was all the lunar calendar, right? Folks were looking out and listening out. So how do we use it? Here are some tips. You got your pen, you got your paper. So your annuals, your fruits and your vegetables that bear fruit and vegetables above the ground. Okay, so we're talking things like your corn, your tomatoes, your watermelon, your zucchini, everything that bears fruit above the ground, not the root vegetables like potatoes and carrots. Those, we want to plant them when the moon is waxing. In other words, as the moon is getting bigger, make the circle bigger. Make the circle bigger. Put the annual flowers. Put the fruit and veggies that grow above the soil. That's when we're planting them in. Because as the moonlight increases night by night, the plants are being encouraged to push out more leaves, to push out more stems. Because the moon is like drawing on the water and drawing on the nutrients, allowing the plants to uptake more of it. And so they grow bigger. But if you're planting stuff like flowering bulbs, perennial flowers, things that grow all year long, and vegetables that bear crops below the ground, so your onions, your carrots, your potatoes, your amadumbi, those things, you plant those when the moon is getting smaller from day to day. Why? Because as the moonlight decreases, the plants are encouraged to grow down. And they grow roots, they grow your tubers, and they grow your bulbs. So if it's above the soil, let the moon be growing. If it's below the soil, let the moon be getting less and less. Now, we've got the waxing moon getting bigger. We've got the waning moon getting smaller. But did you know that the moon also has quarters, right? So fourth quarters, all those quarters cause a gravitational pull. And so it's in those times that we harvest, that we prune, that we take care of bugs, apart from when we can actually see the bugs. So those are the times when we are doing that. So isn't that fascinating? Isn't that fascinating? Wasn't that amazing?
Yes, it is fascinating.
Right. So above the soil, the moon is growing. Below the soil, the moon is waning. That's it. It's as simple as that. If you want to plant your stuff. And now is springtime, so it's appropriate here to talk about this. So what are the cycles of the moon? Basically, we get the new moon, and you'll find people that actually look out for the moon for our various Islamic purposes, for our months and for Ramadan and for Eid and those things. So the moon is an important part of Islamic culture. So the new moon lasts 1 to 7 days approximately. It's usually not visible from Earth. It's like quiet. It's hiding. Then we've got the waxing crescent. So that's that little crescent all the way up to full moon. That's 7 to 14 days. And that moon is growing. That's your waxing moon. You get the full moon. Boom. That's 14 to 21 days before the moon is fully illuminated. And then you have the waning crescent all the way to the new moon. So that's basically it on the moon. The moon. Now, we've got 10 minutes left to the show. I promised I would talk about castor oil. So let's talk about it. Have you ever used castor oil, Asfat?
Yes, when I was young.
Did your mom make you drink it?
Yes.
Aha. And why did she tell you to drink it?
Basically, it helps with indigestion and helps like relieve you in that aspect.
Yes, absolutely. It does, because it's a laxative and it's a diuretic. But not only that, it's an anti-parasitic. So having castor oil, please, folks, if pregnant and breastfeeding moms, stay away from castor oil.
Yeah, and isn't it good for your skin?
Yes, we're going to get to that. You see, castor oil is a diuretic. It is a laxative. It is an anti-parasitic, but it's also an anti-inflammatory. So any inflammation you have on the inside is also going to be reduced. It's also going to be calmed down. If it's an anti-inflammatory internally, it's also an anti-inflammatory externally. It also dissolves away things that shouldn't be there. So if you, for instance, as you get older, some people get bony growths either in their hands or on their feet, and they get spurs, foot spurs, castor oil will actually dissolve those. And the pain reduction is almost immediately. If you have arthritis, if you have rheumatism, putting castor oil on that almost immediately takes the pain away. But it has, as you say, the benefit of helping the skin. It's an anti-aging plant. The castor oil bean is a funny looking plant. If you've ever seen it, it's a funny looking plant. I'm sorry to say it, but it actually does look a little bit like the cannabis plant, because it has 7 fingers. It has that same structure, 7 fingers. The leaves are like a bluish green, the castor oil leaves, a bluish green. The stems are almost this brownish, bluish color. And then the leaves come up like cotton wool, and they are this pinkish, brownish color. And of course, then we get the castor oil beans. Now, how do they make the oil? They've got to get the castor oil, the castor beans themselves, like little soybeans, and they've got to press them to get oil as you would do with your olives. But now that is where the castor oil quality comes in, because not all castor oils are made the same. So you can use castor oil for aches and pains. You can use castor oils internally, but it's important then to use a castor oil that is not made with solvents. Because, mankind, we want to take like the short left. So what do? When it comes to wheat, we spray the crops with Roundup and then we harvest it, but everybody suffers what they think is gluten intolerance when it's actually intolerance to Roundup. We do the same with castor oil. We harvest these beautiful castor oil beans filled with such wonderful potential, and then we gooi a solvent on there because we want to make it softer so that our machines can make us more money. And then we're putting toxins into people. And so people go out and want to buy organic castor oil. Right now, you're going to buy organic castor oil. So everybody who makes castor oil that is organic is going to put the label organic. And then they're going to charge you 5 times the price. And you're going to pay exorbitant amounts for castor oil. But there is this thing called British Pharmacopoeia. So British Pharmacopoeia refers to how a castor oil is manufactured. There's British Pharmacopoeia, Indian Pharmacopoeia, American Pharmacopoeia. What does it mean? Way of producing. Castor oil that is produced according to British Pharmacopoeia standards have to meet the following criteria. The beans have to be grown organically. So, no pesticides. You may not use hexane or other solvents to soften it. You must do it the right way. And then that oil must be cold pressed. In other words, there's been no heat leading to toxins. There's been no burning of the beans in order to make Jamaican castor oil, burning of the beans, creating ash, which is very acidic and really not good for you. British Pharmacopoeia. And here's the good news. In South Africa, any castor oil that is manufactured in South Africa must meet British Pharmacopoeia standards. So if you buy a castor oil that is South African, it is going to be hexane free. It doesn't have to say it in the bottle. It's going to be organic. It doesn't have to say so on the bottle, which means you're probably going to pay 1/3 of the price for castor oil that's really good castor oil. So here's to the recipes. For arthritis, we said your plain castor oil. Apply it or apply it as a compress. Back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, elbow pain, big toe pain. You take your castor oil, you put it on, and you place something over it. You don't have to go out and buy an actual compress. You can use a clean old t-shirt. You can use bandages. You can use, ladies, sanitary pads, babies, nappies, panty liners, all these lovely things that you can use to apply the castor oil, put it in place, and then bind it on. And that is going to help you with all sorts of aches and pains. But not only that, it's actually going to help to get into your body. It takes a lot longer for castor oil to be absorbed, but it has an incredible effect on the body. So if you have fibroids, castor oil compress every single night to reduce the inflammation of those fibroids. This does not replace medical assistance. Always check with your medical doctors. Those are our disclaimers. But castor oil for fibroids is amazing. Castor oil for growths, lumps, bumps, warts, brilliant. If you take castor oil and you mix it with Swedish bitters, which we discussed last week, now you've got something that's going to make the warts fall off. Okay. Castor oil to even your skin tone. Here's a great recipe, and I'm going to be making one of these for you to come and try at the Diamond Walk. So if you're coming to us at the Diamond Walk on the 29th, I will be there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I will be showing you how to make some of these products. So castor oil, you're going to take a half a cup of castor oil, you're going to take a half a cup of aloe vera gel. You're going to mix those two together, and to that, please add 1 or 2 drops of lavender essential oil. When it comes to essential oils, make sure that it's a good quality essential oil so that there's no heavy metals like mercury in it. Mixy, blendy, squishy in the blender. Apply it to the face. Call me in the morning because your face is going to be rejuvenated. Castor oil can be applied onto the eyelids. It grows your eyelashes and your eyebrows. Yes, it does. So if you want castor oil, if you put applying castor oil everywhere on your face and you have PCOS, be warned, it may stimulate the hair growth, right, because of PCOS. So make sure if you're applying castor oil that you've added spearmint to it, because it is the spearmint that helps PCOS sufferers to not have that hair growth. So castor oil. Castor oil with aloe vera is fantastic. Castor oil for eyelashes, for eyebrows. Did you know that castor oil will actually dissolve cataracts? So I've had people who were due to go for cataract surgery phone me up and say, Rabia, something weird is happening. My cataracts are disappearing. And I'm like, no, it's not weird. It's wonderful. Subhanallah. Subhanallah, why not? You're taking your castor oil. You can actually put a drop of castor oil into your eye. And then you'll have people, no, you can't do that. Well, guess what? Eye drops are made with castor oil. It's one of the ingredients in over-the-counter eye drops.
Wow.
So, castor oil is good. And of course, we used to have it as kids to boost our immune system. Why? Because it's going to get rid of parasites. That means our stomach is going to be able to absorb, or our intestinal tract is going to be able to absorb nutrients better. And that means your immune system is going to grow. So there is truth to it. Castor oil and your omega-3 oils. Can you believe we've run out of time? We have indeed run out of time. So those are our recipes for you today. That is our show for you today. And please stay safe. Stay away from the snow. Give it a few days, and hopefully the sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow you can plant your plants in again. And remember, look out and see what the moon is doing and see how that can help your garden in any small way, or the plants on your balcony. Yes, absolutely. We'll see you next week. Same place, same time, as well as at 3 p.m. at the Diamond Walk. Until next week, from me and from
Asfat
Fili and all of the team at Radio Al Ansar. Jazakallah for spending this time with us, and we'll speak to you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.